Good morning. What is up, Syndicate members? It's Wednesday. It's the peak of the week. We are live from Austin, Texas, as always. Just hanging out with my buddy Joe, the king of Facebook groups. He is always here looking sharp. I love that beautiful blue jersey you got on. Those are the new ones, aren't they?
These are our new ones, and we brought home the ship this past weekend in them, baby. They got some good luck on them.
Of course you did. Y'all play. I happened to go out and spectate one of your pickup games yesterday, if that's what you want to call it. Those guys are usually scrubs, but you guys had it together yesterday.
Dude, I'm telling you, look, you're just making me go right into my weekly win. Good morning, everybody. I hope you guys are doing amazing. Love doing this show here with Mr. Merwin. We got an amazing guest for y'all this morning. Real quick, hey, you guys put in the comments, too, what your weekly win is, but then also let StreamYard view your comments as well. As you can see, this is what it looks like when you allow that to happen. What's up, Miss Patrice? How are you? Had an amazing Tuesday training with her yesterday. But the weekly win. So we brought home another championship this past weekend with Redwood Southslide. Here's the so it was like this like the battle of the jokers. I don't know if you guys can really see that. So I got a new bat. I have so many bats that they're color coordinated now. So don't tell my players that because they all take them and sell them to make some money. I put them in my office for a decent backdrop. So and then last night,
slave driver, you make those guys sell bats just to make ends meet.
It's not my fault. Exactly. Hey, come sell some insurance. You wouldn't have to sell all those bats. You could hang them up on your wall too. So, but no, that's my win. And then we're taking a team out to Vegas for Worlds. I think I talked about that on a previous episode, but just booked the Airbnb. So I had to drop like $4,800 down just to reserve it. And so, but we've got a basketball court, a putting green, a pickleball court, a pool table, a ping pong table, and 16 beds. So it's about to be, we're going to be out there for 5 days, dude. We're going to be out there for softball for the World Championship. So super excited for that.
I'd be surprised if y'all get back with everybody.
We'll see that or if we
rule no man gets left behind.
Hopefully we win, because if not, I mean, we're gonna have like an extra 3 days in Vegas at this place. I'm like, dude, that's gonna be bad.
Y'all better win, make it the whole way. You don't want too much free time.
Right. How are you doing?
Right on, man. I'm doing fantastic. If I was doing any better, I would be twins. I've been recreationally speaking as well. I've been leading up this golf tournament with the Austin Association of Health Underwriters. We are just pretty much wrapped up. We're finalizing all the details this week to get it ready to go with the tournaments in almost 2 weeks away. It's on Monday, the 26th. But we've exceeded our financial goal from last year. Right?
Awesome.
I think they raised just short of 12 grand last year. We're already at like 13 grand this year. So I've managed to exceed that. It's a small tournament, nothing big. I'm really looking forward to next year for it, but I'm happy that I was able to pick it up, get it organized, and at least drive in more money than we brought last year. So, and that was without raising any of the entry fees or nothing. That was just rounding up more players. So I'm super pumped for that and excited to be able to do some good with the Association of Health Underwriters. They're a nonprofit group that lobbies for the health insurance industry. So that's always very close to my heart. And as a matter of fact, it's funny because that leads us right into our next guest or our guest for the day. Because this gentleman that we're going to bring on actually is the one that encouraged me to get into the National Association of Health Underwriters. I'd always knew it was there, knew it was an association, it wasn't that I was against it or anything. I just wasn't super motivated to get involved. And then he makes some post in his group one day talking about it and why it's important for agents like us to get involved. And I'm like, well, sold. And I immediately turned around and went and got my membership, signed up for the local chapter, started going to meetings. In talking to the local chapter president, found out that they needed some help. They were looking for people to help them in some leadership positions. I said, "What do you got?" She's like, "Well, I need somebody to head up the golf tournament." I'm like, "Yo, couldn't have found a better person."
Take
Like,
it,
this is
right.
very fortuitous. So super happy about that. And the experience so far has been great. So if anybody out there's listening and you are in the health insurance space, get involved in NAHU, National Association of Health Underwriters. They've actually rebranded their name for next year. Don't even ask me what it is. They're still running by NAHU, but chances are there's a local chapter in your city, right? So in Austin, it's called the Austin Association of Health Underwriters. The national one is obviously the national one. But as long as you're a member of NAHU, you're a member of your state version and your local chapter. And you can go to any of those meetings. They're very, very useful. It gives you a chance to rub shoulders with people that are in the legislative side of things, so that you will learn changes in the industry faster than some people. You'll be able to express your opinion and influence. So maybe some of those legislators understand where we're coming from and what we need for our policyholders. Other than that, they have great educational events that count towards CE, networking opportunities, partnership opportunities. Like, really getting involved in an association like that is awesome. So that's my high horse for NAHU today. And with that said,
you getting paid for that?
I'm not getting paid for that, but there you go, NAHU. There's a free one for you.
Right.
I would like to go ahead and get our guest on. If you don't know who this guy is, you probably saw our thumbnail. The man is named Justin Brock, as he's staring at his phone there. But this dude is an absolute just avalanche of wins in the Medicare space. I have been following him and watching you, dude, for ever since you popped on the scene. And I was like, who the hell is this dude? Back when your group was called Medicare Coach. And it was funny because, I mean, I've been in the business for 18 years and I saw your name. I was like, Justin Brock. I was like, where's this dude from? I'm like, Mississippi. I'm like, dude, that's got to be Bobby Brock's kid. Because I had known Bobby Brock. I knew him and his partners for many, many years, trying to get them to do some products with me. And they're definitely part of the old boys club. So I always had struggles getting something in their hands. But when I saw you come on the scene, I'm like, that's got to be Bobby Brock's kid. Who is he? What's he doing? And the next thing I know, this dude is absolutely lighting it up. He's killing it in the Medicare space. He's got a bunch of different brands going, including the Go Guru brand, which is an educational and resource brand for agents that serves them through CRMs, education, and training. And obviously, he's also the creator of the largest one of the largest insurance groups in all of Facebook, definitely the largest Medicare group with over 10,000 members, Medicare Gurus. And then he's the creator of Medicare Con, which is the number one largest, most impressive conference dedicated to the Medicare space, where agents can come out, learn, network, and develop their skill set in Medicare.
This dude's so badass. We could do like a 30-minute intro for him. I think.
Right, we could just sit here and talk, and just
the whole show is
intro.
Next week's guest is Justin Brock's beard.
There you go.
Different intro.
Right. What is up, dude? Welcome to the show, man.
Thank you, Tony. Thank you, Joe, for having me. Glad you guys reached out, because I want to spend some more time with you guys anyway. It feels like I don't get to see you. I've been on, I was just saying, we've been on like a separate circuit where you guys have been going a lot of places. I'm going to a lot of places, but we will both be, Tony. I don't know, Joe, where you be, but I know Tony will be in the digital.
I won't be at that one. I'll be there in spirit.
It's coming up in just a few weeks.
So I'm actually flying out later today to MDAHU. Speaking of NAHU, we're gonna speak. Me and Johnny said is going to be there, and Will, one of our head agent support. We're going to be at the Metro Detroit Association of Health Underwriters, which they're apparently doing it pretty big. They got like 400 Medicare agent registrants in Metro Detroit. I think they come from like all over Michigan in that kind of area. But yeah, they have a really big showing. So glad to go up there and support another local Association of Health Underwriters or NABEP chapter.
Yeah, that's what it's going to be called now, right? NABEP,
the Metro Detroit Association of Health Insurance Professionals.
Benefit insurance professionals or something.
Yeah. So it's going to be like MDA BIP.
Yeah, I wasn't a big fan of them voting to change that name, but
I like
not on the top board, so whatever.
But for me, like an acronym over time, it becomes a brand in itself, and so it is a little change. But hey, you know what? I'm here for it. I'll do what I got to do to help carry that banner, because again, going back to NAHU, in an official capacity to lobby for, health insurance professionals collectively. So we have a voice. And then in the spirit of, not feeling like you were talking about the good old boys club. I came into the industry seeing like everyone was fragmented. The good old boys club was really a bunch of agents that, didn't want to share anything with anybody because they all felt like everyone was their enemy. And, I think Joe probably on the absolute forefront of a completely different image of everyone is a friend. Friend first, we'll figure out who the bad friends are, but we're gonna lead with friend first.
Right.
And so it's a different time in the industry, and that's good. I mean,
Right.
So yeah, but hey guys, I thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, and with it, and so let's talk about
we need to quit creating and focus on those things.
Yeah, and let's then kind of share a little bit about just who you are, kind of your brand, and then also let's cover that weekly win, and then we'll get into it.
Absolutely, yeah, man. So I'm Justin Brock. Yeah, we run not so modest agency anymore here, in Northeast Mississippi, focused on all 50 states really, but heavy emphasis on certain states. Started off as an independent producer, beating the streets, figuring stuff out. Had some early evolution wins in social media, paid social media strategy marketing. I would like to think I'm one of the innovators on that side, but like I see what people are doing with it now, and I'm like, oh, you guys are taking it to the next level. I feel like the old dog in that arena, in the social media arena now, but had some early success there. Started listening to people like Gary Vee, who said document what you were doing online, and other people would want to do it. Russell Brunson, Expert Secrets, talked about putting together information on how other people can do what you do. And so we started Medicare Coach. Originally Tony paid homage to it. That's trademarked. So turns out Medicare Gurus is everything is trademarked. Medicare Coach, we started that group. The guy named Sean Fogelson had Final Expense Coach, and I was somehow got in Final Expense Coach. How do we end up in these Facebook groups? I don't know, but it's a damn good thing that we do, because we meet a lot of people. Ended up in one of the I'd say the life insurance, P&C, and then life insurance definitely stole the group arena first. I was in some of these groups, like Ryan Sarkodakis, who recently passed away. One of the first groups I was in. But in those groups, I met Sean Fogelson. He said, hey, everybody's interested in Medicare, but there's no Medicare group. And Sean Fogelson's not even in the industry anymore. But I'm so glad that he told me. He's like, why don't you start Medicare Coach, and we'll both be admins, but really you'll be all the one talking about all the Medicare stuff. And I was like, okay, that's really how it started.
Right.
And I had nothing to sell to agents. I did not want to recruit. Tony will tell you, I've referred agents to Tony. I referred agents to Galen. I referred agents to Tegray Moot and Mike Manning at Heartland, friends of ours, people that we knew were good people. We did not feel like an FMO. We were an agency, and the group grew exponentially because we were the first Medicare agent group, and so a lot of people flocked to it. There is power in being the first to something, for sure. I mean, there's one very large P&C group, for instance, online, and a lot of that's because they're like the first.
Right.
But anyway, that group really grew, and it fueled our direct to consumer side as well, because we were starting to get referrals from people. I mean, you know how that is. Joe taught me about the care emoji to stand out. And now I think everybody's using it, so it's watered. Right. We need a new emoji.
We need a new one. Yeah.
Yeah, we were all the different things you could do to stand out, getting out there and sharing information. I started getting referrals from people that say, hey, I can't do this. I can't do this. Can you do this? I started getting referrals from it. We built our agency simultaneously as that brand grew. And eventually we started saying, what can we do to offer things to agents? And some of that was learning content, like gated learning content. And eventually we've evolved it into, we have our CRM, our university. We have Medicare Con as I would say the largest Medicare agent conference.
Yeah.
There's another conference that has more focus to me on FMOs, carriers, thought leadership,
Technology.
and technology. Like I think it's a very valuable conference too. Ours has more independent producers and agency owners, like mid-sized agency owners. It's a very different focus. I want to be at both personally. But so we've grown these things to support that agent community because we saw the need from being online. The business on that side followed the attention. We developed the business around the attention, and you guys know this. You do the same thing. It's not like we set out to solicit agents. We didn't. We went out there and they started telling us what they need. I mean, can you do this for me? Can you do this for me? Can you do this for me? And I'll make a business around what is the most necessary thing for agents. And there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing.
You guys hearing that though? We preach on it all the time here on the show. When you lead with value and education, they'll freaking come to you, dude. You don't even you'll get to the point you don't even have to ask, right? They're coming to you and asking. And hold on, real quick before you keep going, I had to bring up about Medicare Con because so we're in Birmingham and this place it's a nice resort, y'all. It's like this, we're on like an OG golf course and stuff. So it's like the first day, dude, I'm sitting out front in my Jordans in my Kobe jersey, smoking a cig and all these guys showing up in their Range Rovers and stuff, coming to play golf, just looking at me like, who the hell is this guy? And why is he at my freaking golf, like my country club, right? It was so funny. And I'm just chilling up front and I'm like, oh wow, like this is a little bit different. I had to bring that up.
We did, yeah. So we went to a place called the Renaissance Rossbridge, which is a Scottish paid to our descendant of Braveheart here, Tony. It's a Scottish themed. I mean, they even play bagpipes thing. But Scottish themed golf resort is on the Trent Jones Golf Trail. Beautiful golf course. We did that there because, as our second Medicare Con, I still wanted it to be driving distance for us. Next year going to Vegas, I have to fly up my whole team there. It's a different level of logistics, right? But that Medicare Con resort, it's harder to sell Birmingham to people. But most people, when they got there, are like, damn, this is
nice.
It was nice.
They did a great, the staff at the resort did a great job. We were very fortunate. In any big event, there's always things that don't go as planned. There's always, you have to be able to move fast and improvise. There's always problems. That's just the way it is. There's always a couple.
Yeah, it was like something hicked up like 30 minutes before showtime. I remember.
Yeah.
I don't.
Oh man, we had our live stream,
and you were like, "Holy shit, go get Steve Martinez now." We got to fix this.
We had 600 people. So anybody that's been to an event with Steve knows that Steve is Frank the Tank. So Steven doesn't get. Like, you've never been around him and be like, wow, he's so wasted. But Steven will just progressively drink through the night and just doesn't go to bed. So he'll be up in the morning. So it's like 7:30 a.m. And I'm starting to like, okay, we got to make sure this live stream. And we had set the live stream up where like OBS and all was all just ready to go. Like you click a button and it's supposed to go live. Well, you click the button, didn't work. And all of a sudden I can't find Steve. And so I'm freaking out. And then Steven gets down there and he's sweating and he's like, I don't know. And finally something clicked and they figured it out and it went through. Early on, the audio in the live stream wasn't great, but then it corrected and ended up working out. But there's like 600 people live streaming it,
Right.
So anyway, yeah, there's always problems with that stuff.
Well, and then you guys had to reset like the whole ballroom and everything too, if I'm not mistaken, because when there's the lights and everything was set up, and it's like, dude, we got to change all these into breakout rooms and all that. And so that's a really good pivot point, just like how to deal with adversity, right? And I think, Justin, you and your team, like you guys are just doing an amazing job, and I think it's because of how really in sync you guys are. Right. And I think that really kind of started. And I know me and Tony were kind of like, hey, what do we really want to talk about? And I think that started, pretty early on for you. Right. And so obviously, your service and your time in the military and everything. Let's kind of pivot back to that. And I want to ask kind of a couple questions like, how did that experience there? Right. And really just all the training, and we all know like the mindset that really goes into, right, obviously serving our country and even, going overseas and that type of stuff. how did that kind of shape you into really, I mean, honestly, the leader, the industry leader that you are today, and how do you kind of use that within your team?
Yeah. So, my military background, I was an operations guy. So I was an operator, if you will. So when we go into the Marine Corps, you get, like any branch, they're going to section you off into different operational specialties. And I ended up getting into operations specialist. And so the big thing in operations is you're part of the planning element, and you're part of the on the backside of an exercise, like taking the data from that and sorting it. And what's funny is, man, like, life is really crazy because over time, like, okay, just give you an example. When you take your insurance licensing exam, that's something everybody can resonate with. Um, did anybody feel like, I'm not going to pass this? I don't know what the hell any of this stuff is. And then you pass, and you're like, I guess I just retained enough of this BS to, like, get through.
Pass.
But it's not like that information to me was like, oh yeah, I completely get all this stuff when you're brand new to insurance. Like, I didn't get any of that shit. I just, like, retained enough random information to pass. So, like, in the military, some of the stuff that I was learning, like, even on the data side of taking it and the attention to detail and the planning process, running a business later on, you start to learn all of the operational component of running a business. Because at this point now, we have 30 W-2 staff members. We're hiring more people right now. We have, a lot of downline agents, a lot of moving parts. That's small business to some people, but I'm at the helm of running all that. And you start to see the full circle of the operation side of it, the marketing, the sales, and the tech side, the human resources side. Like, yesterday we were setting up, like, legitimate time off requests, because in the past we've been laissez-faire about it, and we realized some people aren't taking enough time off while others are taking way more than they're there. Well, all this full circle, like, it's funny, you look back at what you were doing in the military, and a lot of the stuff that they were doing, like on the accountability side of it, we were just checking boxes. Like, we were like, okay, they told me to do this. We didn't really know what we were doing it for. But on the back end of it now, running a business, I see how the data is used to adjust for action, right? And so I think for me, the operations side, I had this boss. I did 8 years. So the last 8 years, or last 4 years, I was under this boss for a while named Major Pham. She was the first female Vietnamese fighter pilot in the military.
Wow.
And she was intense, man. She was my first female boss, I believe. Yeah, my first female, like, direct OIC. And her attention to detail level was insane, to the point where it was a little obsessive, in my opinion. Like, even now, I'm like, there's some of those things you could have let go. But it made me, like, every day I'm writing flight schedules for this H&HS command, and I'm having to bring them to her. And I had written flight schedules for years up to that point, and she was just ripping them apart every time, like, with perfection. Like, and what's funny is, I was in a different building than her, so every day she would make me, get my finished product and then walk it over to her, which would have been like 3/4 of a mile walk. Not super far, but I'm walking over. So over time, I'm like, if I'm walking this damn thing 3/4 of a mile there, and then she's going to rip it apart, and I'm going to come 3/4 of a mile back, I'm going to fix it. Then I got to print it off again. Then I got to walk it back there. I'm going to make sure when I get there, it's just like, please. And, honestly, I'll say I never achieved that. It was like she had but the attention to detail that was programmed from that side, I think, is probably the best thing that I got out of it. And up until I joined the military, all the jobs I had were like, anytime there was a concert I wanted to go to, a sporting event I wanted to go to, a party I wanted to go to that my work schedule interfered with, I just quit the job. Well, you can't quit the Marine Corps to go to Bonnaroo. So that didn't happen. So I think being forced into a predicament where you're like, you got to show up, you have to be there. It kind of starts to program your mind, so that even when I entered the entrepreneur space, where showing up is voluntary. Now, you're going to suffer if you don't, but it is voluntary. Nobody's forcing you to. But for 8 years, I was forced to, and so part of getting up and showing up every day. It was like, well, that's non-negotiable. Like I have to do that. I have to get up and show up. And I still tell people on the mindset stuff, I think mindset is super important. I do think some people focus so much on mindset that they get away from the number one principle for mindset for me is get up every day and put one foot in front of the other.
Right.
You can focus so much on the big picture that you don't just get up. And I don't care if you're, doing the little two-toe shuffle in front of one another, but if you're moving forward, you're moving somewhere.
Yeah.
Rather than sitting there with the paralysis of analysis of thinking about why is my mindset not right. Some people can actually use mindset or high-end business principle stuff like LLC setup and website. Those are examples we use, like my website, my blah, 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 all these different things people use to not ever get off the ground. But some people use the mindset to not get it. Well, I have to get my morning routine right. Okay. I'm super real about this stuff, man. I do believe, like I've been trying recently to get up at 5 a.m. and go to the gym. It's not about being up at 5 a.m. It's about, that's the only time I feel like if I don't do it, then I'm not going to do it.
Right.
This morning, so last night, I go to sleep. I fell asleep in the living room, like preparing my MDA presentation late at night. My daughter falls asleep on my chest. I put her in a chair because I did not want to walk upstairs and put her in her bed. I put her in a chair, covered her up. She wakes up at midnight or like 12:30, and she starts trying to turn the TV on and stuff. Wakes me up. I'm like, no, go get in your bed. Get her to her bed. Then I get in the bed, and I can't go back to sleep. So I'm up late Googling stuff, from 12:30 to like 3.
Wow.
All back to sleep. Alarm goes off at 5 a.m. You know what I did? I turned that shit off and went back to sleep. I didn't say, I have to get up at 5 a.m. because no, like be a real human. If you don't wake up at 5 and you said you were going to wake up at 5, that doesn't mean you have to obliterate your whole day because your morning routine didn't work out. So I'm all about mindset, but you got to roll with the punches of life. And if you have no kids and no wife or no husband, and you already can't figure it out how to get your routine going or roll with the punches of life, throwing them in the mix is going to really make it difficult. And Joe, like, I mean, it's hard to manage a routine.
I was up at 5 this morning for different reasons, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Sometimes, you just got to, that's being like you're saying in Medicare, being resilient and rolling with the punches. Like if something doesn't go perfect, that doesn't matter. You got to just keep on moving, and the people that can naturally do this, we see them in the industry doing big things, and some of them preach routine and I'm not negative on routine or negative on mindset. I just like to be the guy who's practical about it. Like, let's shoot for the moon. But when it doesn't happen, you still got to get up and you got to make phone calls and you got to talk to people and you got to do what you got to do. And then tomorrow I'm gonna try again. I'm not, and I don't say it to give yourself a cop out.
Right.
I really do want to wake up at 5 a.m. and go to the gym. When I do it, I enjoy it. I feel better. There are a lot of benefits to doing that. There are a lot of benefits to having times that I check my emails and all that stuff. But to be frank, normally when I wake up in the morning, first thing I do is look at my phone and check all my notifications. I do that. Eugene was one of the first people that was real to me and said that, like, this is what I do. And I'm like, it's refreshing. And actually there was a guy on Brad Lee's podcast. He calls it the farm boy routine. Said that, if your farm boys don't wake up in the morning and meditate, they wake up in the morning, they drink a cup of coffee, and then they go outside and start milking cows and throwing bales of hay around before the sun comes up.
Right.
Because they're doing all their work when their brain is the sharpest, right? Because for me, my brain is the sharpest about 30 minutes after I wake up. But when is it the dullest? At night. And so many people are trying, like I was trying to prepare that presentation at night, last night, but my brain is tired. And so it's hard, you know.
Yeah.
So sometimes.
Well, I wanna backtrack here because you said something that I hope y'all caught this too, right? And I think again, you guys have done an exceptional job of this, you know, and expect in office too, right? You guys heard 30, I mean, that's 30 W-2 people. That's not just some 1099 contractors that show up. Like, I mean, y'all have a very structured organization, we'll call it, right? But you said, you know, about people trying to figure out their routine and this, and you know, and then people just really kind of get it. So when you're looking for people, right? So like when you found Steven or when you found Jacob or and Johnny, you know, freaking coming through the woodwork, and I mean, dude, the growth that he's had in the past 2 years, even, I mean, exponential, right? So, but what do you think are like 2 to 3 things that you look for that, hey, you know what, if I'm looking for a killer that I want to join the team, and maybe they're not quite the stone cold killer yet, but they're like certain things that you can pick out. Like, what are 2 or 3 things that really like, hey, if I see that in a person, I freaking want them.
Yeah, man. Well, you know, I'll say, depending on what the job is, you know, we try to hire for a skill set. But just give you a couple examples. Steven was hired as an agent, and now he's the chief marketing officer, but by all accounts, he's the architect of, you know, anything technologically proficient that we do. There's
proficient. Justin's like, well, I've got stuff out there, but
yeah,
it's not necessarily.
I was doing tech stuff, but mine was janky at best. And Steven came in and helped fix that. Jeff, who is our chief operations officer, started off, I hired him as a graphic designer. I was like, we need a full-time graphic designer. This is after we had said as a videographer. I'm like, we need somebody being a graphic design person. Sometimes it's crazy. You'll hire a skill set and then you realize how valuable that skill set really is. Like you find way more for them to do than you thought you could. And sometimes people will, this is the biggest thing people are hiring. They'll tell me, I don't want to hire somebody because I don't have that much work for them to do. Well, when you hire that person, you put them in there, you'll find like more stuff about, oh, wow, now that I have this person, we can do things that we couldn't do before. And so it evolves. And, Johnny's sitting down beside me over here. So when that role evolves, you find more stuff. So just give you this better example. So Jeff is hired as graphic design. We now have basically 3 more people after him that we hire for graphic design. One of those graphic designers became our creative director. Jeff's mind was so good at like detail orientation, and like he just kind of took the initiative to make sure things were done that had nothing to do with graphic design. But he was like, he's a note taker, a good memory, very structured, organizational, kind of like a logistics or engineer type person, visually talented, which don't always go together.
Right.
But even second and third graphic designer that we hired, I've learned that they're really good at art. They're very artistic, but they were very clean and organized. And so Jeff became an operations guy, and he's not even really doing the graphic design stuff anymore. So I think that's an important part of that is as you're hiring, you can change someone's role based on what their skill set is.
Right.
I think it's kind of like I have kids in school. School is so cookie cutter. They're like, you have to learn these things. And kids aren't cookie cutter, man. You know, kids have interests too. Well, in my job, I'm taking these adults where they're taught, okay, I have to do this to make money for my family, and then find out what their skill set is and evolve that path. And that doesn't mean that someone's desire is always going to evolve into your operation, but you'd be surprised, I think, how often it does. And then you're going to have people that just frankly are high quality grunt laborers that'll just do anything, and they're resilient and they're going to figure it out. And those people are worth a lot, too. But so as a what am I looking for? Grit. And I think other people have said this before, that resilience, that grit. Now, spotting that is easier said than done. Sometimes you think someone's gritty, but really turns out they were just good at pretending to be gritty.
They were just trying to get a job.
Yeah. And also too, this is a big thing, at Medicare Con, Cantu brought up the ship analogy last year. And he said there are passengers, there are rowers, and there are anchors on a ship. You want most people to be rowers, rowing the ship in the same direction. We're all working for a common cause for the ship. An anchor tends to be somebody that gets on your ship and figures out how to make the ship do what he wants it to do. And so it ends up weighing you down because your ship's not moving. It's just sitting there supporting him. And then your passengers, which we all find these where they're going to row occasionally, but if you're not looking, they're probably going to be taking smoke breaks. Right. So, but the anchors are the ones that, you have to spot, because sometimes, this is what Cantu said, and it was so true. And as I reference it all the time, is sometimes your top performers are your anchors, because they will try to make the entire ship serve them. And they're producing so much in that setting that it can disguise them to look like top producers. But there can be a little bit of a chameleon in there, because they can be weighing you down. I'd rather have a lot of mid-level consistent producers that create a better environment for everybody than a top producer. Now, when you can find a top producer that can also buy in and be part of the ship, that's great. And they can do that, but sometimes you have to coach them through that.
Right.
And sometimes there aren't salvages.
And sometimes a top producer is like, almost even for me, and I love that you said that, because, one thing that we really try to do here is like provide career path. Like, just because you're coming in the door here at, we'll call like a mid-level consistent producer, doesn't mean that's where you're going to like stop, right? And almost in a sense where it's like sometimes if it's a top producer, why are they making changes, right? You're already a top producer, so there's got to be there's sometimes a red flag there, right? Now, again, if you really, not to say that there aren't unicorns out there, right? But then sometimes even with that too, is it's hard to teach an old dog new tricks, where if they come in and it is a new organization, right? And it is, hey, I do things differently. And they're like, well, yeah, but I'm a top producer, so like, just let me do my thing. That's like, even that, we all know it, right? The one bad apple can ruin the bunch. And I think, again, I like to highlight you guys. I think your culture, it's just very attractive, right? Like, people see, and you're doing business, you're killing it in business, you got the numbers to show it, right? But then you guys are like having fun, and you're all actually friends, and you guys go and do dinners and just stuff like that I think, I really admire about what you guys have been able to build, again, in office. It's been really cool to watch, for sure.
Yeah. Well, it's fun doing it too, man. I'm here all day. I'm here a lot. My family is part of it. I want to build something that I enjoy being a part of,
Right.
So.
I was recently, I'm going to shift a little bit. I kind of love where this has gone, but I think it's led us to a perfect point to kind of pivot a little bit further, to use Joe's favorite word. I was watching, you did a video last week, Tuesday or Wednesday, I think.
Oh, which
were
video?
On talking. It was a live YouTube, as I remember.
Oh man, okay.
And you were talking about kind of the direction of your organization in different from the private equity groups that are out there, consolidating and buying up, right? And just like you did in that video, we don't have to name any names. Everybody knows who those people are. And nothing against any of them, right? They're filling their roles. You're carving out and trailblazing a new path or a different path, right? Kind of doing it your own way, trying to dodge. And it's funny because there's conversations that I can go back to with you and me and Bob Beachy talking about some of this stuff. But I'm just kind of curious, like, when you're thinking about that, like, one of the things you said was like, I'm here to build businesses. And it's funny because I've been with you at least on the outskirts, and I obviously MC Medicare Con, and we've become friends. We worked together on a few projects. But like, I watched those days at Medicare Coach, and I remember those days where you were just selling a $97 learn how to do Facebook ads thing, and then you were making statements like, I have no interest in recruiting agents. I don't want to be an FMO. And then it grows, and then now we have Go Guru University, and we have these other things, and now you're basically one of the largest FMOs out there as far as the style that you're doing. Like, you're completely different from the rest of them.
Right.
Nobody's doing what you're doing. Nobody's providing the tools and resources at the level that you're providing them, right? They're providing them. Like, we've all got tools. We all got contracts. It's all the same, right? But you are doing it different because it all boils down to one thing, is that you've built the business, right? You have the ability and the social proof to say, well, I've built from personal agent to now I'm at FMO status where I am getting opportunities for direct contracts and NMO level type opportunities.
Yeah.
So I saw that shift where like I have no interest in being an FMO to now like let's recruit a bunch of agents, let's get this thing going and provide real opportunity in a different path. But I'm kind of curious, like what is it that is driving you in that direction as kind of filling that vacuum, right? If you want to say that, because it's kind of there's kind of a cavern, right? You have all these two sides that are consolidating and getting bought up by private equity, and then you have this Justin Brock rocket ship in the middle. And then what is next on the horizon in that regards?
Yeah, so that live, I came in one day and so I have a little bit of congestion right now. I've been congested for a while, and I went to the doctor and they gave me I'm pretty transparent guy. You guys know that. I'm on TRT, and then they loaded me up with methylprednisone and gave me a shot of Decadron like 2 days before that, and I was like just on fire. Like in the morning, you take this, you're taking these steroids that like boosting your system. I'm on TRT. I've been going to the gym at 5 a.m. I didn't do this morning, like I was saying, but I have been. And that morning I did, and I came in and I was like, I'm about to go in and I'm just gonna say some stuff that's on my mind. I got a lot of phone calls when I did that. But you know what? That the video people he's talking about says private equity is killing your business. And so I got a lot, but Bache is one of the ones that called me to give me some points. And anyway, I'm not trying to, first of all, so not trying to take away from what any of these groups are doing. There's some very smart people involved in some of these large entities, and some of them we partner with on different things for sure. The drive to do that, I learned more about the business. I understand more about the volume play. I understand more about how much support and money and different things are out there. You first have to realize that no matter what kind of business you're building, you have to have money to build that business. And so money is not evil. The old homage is the love of money is the root of all evil, right? Not money is the root of all evil, right? So I don't like to do it for the money specifically. Money is a great side effect of building a great business. I do believe that private equity can become the dark side of capitalism, where in some ways the building the best business goes by the wayside, when you start looking at how to stack my EBITDA multiple. And a lot of times these conglomerates or these organizations, when they go public and the numbers become public, their stock price falls, i.e. Go Health, SelectQuote, eHealth, Benefit, who we actually unlisted. They're not even public anymore because it fell so much. And they own the Joe Namath commercials. So sometimes that happens because a lot of the people were trying to inflate their EBITDA number versus grow the best business. Having the best net revenue doesn't mean you have the strongest business. Sometimes it means you gutted your staff or you reduced your advertising cost. And in a business with renewals, I can go 3, 4, 5 years hard building renewals. Then I can gut my staff, or I can cut loose some dead weight. Let's say that. Then I can reduce my advertising spend. The renewals are coming through still. I'm keeping my top performers just to keep a little bit of additional gravy in. Maybe I could even shift to a high advanced final expense model, inflate my EBITDA big time, then go sell for a big multiple. Now they have earnouts and all that, but shit, I mean, the advanced portion of that's so good for some people, and then you buy into the additional high level contracts that you're getting from the biggest entities that make up for some of that growth. I put it back into growth mode, hit my growth numbers, whatever. So what I'm saying is I don't necessarily believe that that's building the best business. And I'm in love in this industry with building the best business. I'm also in love with competition. I like to compete. I like to do better. And who do I want to do better than? Do I want to do better than who is my competition? I feel like I'm in an interim phase. Like I'm in this middle ground where my competition is way bigger than me. My competition, like I don't have a lot of competitors my size and my speed because of the attention and the style and what we believe is possible. I think my competitors have way more money than me because they're all private equity groups. So, and I don't view that as the entities that are part of those private equity groups. Some people get offended by what I'm saying, but it's not the individual entities that are part of private equity or have private equity relationships. I still think that some of those deals are done better than others. Some of them are more deflating than others, and I still can't like say it specifically what I'm trying to say because I don't. The people that know,
Right.
But I have a lot of friends that have sold portions of their business that have then grown that business and done really well. I have friends that I believe have crushed their business by selling. So I want to build a big business. I got into the brokerage side of it because I like agents. I developed a value add over time that I thought, you know what, we are a contender to be an FMO. Just because we haven't been around for 50 years recruiting doesn't mean we're not, a contender to be an FMO. We have a value proposition
Right.
that's arguably better than most. And, our team is good and we want to grow and we need people to be part of us to grow that. And I also started believing in the revenue side of dripping nickels on small overrides over time. Hell, to the, I will say, AmeriLife's been around for a long time. I'll name this. This is a positive for them. AmeriLife has been around for a long time. Traditionally, an FMO, NMO, whatever you want to call them, done a lot of different things in product design, exclusive offers, all kinds of stuff. But the amount of revenue coming through there from old overrides means that even when they're in a point where they're like, hey, we got to change some stuff, we got to evolve, we got to adapt. Well, they got the revenue to do it. So,
right.
You can look at that and you can see the power of a lot of overrides. Are they doing everything right? No. Me bringing them up going to create mixed emotions amongst different people? Sure. But there's something to be said about a business that's lasted that long in the industry and has that much revenue and that high of a valuation. So anyway, that's a long-winded answer, but I want to build a big, huge business that supports agents, and I think recruiting has to be part of that, or we're not really doing it.
Well, I got two things on that, right? Because I think, one, comparison kills, right? And I think that's sometimes when, again, when you're in this space, and there probably are other people that are operating, maybe they'll eventually be at your space right now. Maybe it's just a timing thing. But I think, when I've told this story a few times, is that, we went to when Redwood was first going, and I'm writing 50,000 a month in premium, baby. Like I'm feeling good. And then I go to a conference and I'm like, dude, we are shit, man. And I think, because you're looking at somebody who, again, as an AmeriLife has been doing this for how many years, right?
50.
And so for like somebody who's been sitting in your seat, you could very easily turn and be like, man, why, like, dang. And it could crush your organization from within, right? And so I think, we've actually had this conversation before, Justin. I'm not sure if you 100% remember all of it, but we've definitely had it. And I probably am with you and on. I don't remember half of it too. But for us here at Redwood, and this is something I think we connected on, was, dude, I'm legacy driven. And that's definitely something I see from you, is that you're not just legacy driven, with your own family, which obviously we are. Right. But like my whole thing with Redwood is that 100 years from now, my great grandkids are still talking about great grandpappy Joe. Right. And when, him and Pops started Redwood. Right. But that's great. But what's the really cool thing, that 100 years from now, if there's still however many agents that their lives and their families are being impacted 100 years from now. Right. Like that to me is a business. Right. And so I love that. I wanted to bring that up because I think, we've had that conversation a couple of times where, man, it's like, dude, I'm trying to build something like nobody's ever seen. And, kudos to you on that. And just for not letting that comparison. And I know you, dude, people probably have this conversation with you all the time. Like, why aren't you selling, dude? And I know that I know that they've asked too. And it's like, well, how do you say no to that dollar sign? It's like, well, dude, because I'm trying to do something so much greater than just a commission. Right. So,
and it's not
really
like
good.
I'm suffering. You
Right.
go back to I go back to my weekly win, man. We just bought a 7-figure purchase lake house.
Nice.
I go in, we wanted, it's about an hour and a half from here. It's we're called Lewis Smith Lake. It's the 3rd cleanest lake in the country. It's comparative to like a Lake Tahoe, Quarry Bottom. We've been going out there for a while, and we're like, we want a lake house. We want to be able to go out there and not have not rent it or anything. Just go out. Our stuff's already there. Our clothes are there. All that,
Right.
Put up. It's our place. I go into the house, buy the house, fully furnished. Got a movie theater and everything. Nice place. I go to the dock. I'm like, I want the boat too. Buy the boat in cash.
Let's go.
This is not like I'm not trying to like be braggadocious. The point is, I don't have to sell my business to do that. Like we've created that over that compounding effect of, you don't, like, Medicare is not a space, PNC is not a space where you have to get in and sell your business or you're not making any money. You don't have to get in and go public. You can get in and build a real strong business where your net revenue is strong enough to support a quality life. I think a lot of people that sell are, they're older. The money's just so great that they do it. And I'm not knocking them for it, dude. Like, it's hard to stare millions and millions and millions of dollars in the face and be like, nah, I'm going to keep on going.
I got work tomorrow.
You are a little bit crazy, but I think the biggest, most impactful people in the world are a little crazy. Like, they weren't just looking to get rich, because people that are looking to get rich typically don't ever get there. Are there some people that sold their business that weren't looking to sell their business? Yeah, there's a bunch of them. I imagine that when PSM was started, for instance, I don't imagine that they were like, one day we're going to partner with AmeriLife. That just happened. But I think the reason that business is so solid and such a good business, and I do think the AmeriLife partnership was a win for them because of the way it's structured. But also, when you're looking at PSM, I think that when Tony and I'm gonna butcher their last name, but your guys over there at PSM, Vanderbergs. I don't want to say it and say like Vanderbilts. When the Vanderbilts, but when they're building that business, I think they were trying to build a business that lasts. Okay, so I'm not saying that one day, 10 years from now, people are gonna be like, Joe and Justin are sellouts. They sold their business. Like, you never know what happens, man. Like, we could have health problems that change things. You can have family things that change, and then offers, and there's all sorts of reasons that someone might, have a private equity partnership or go public or all these different things that people do. I just want, from me, people to know that my business right now, the plan is to build the best business. I'm in love with the business. I want to build the best business. I want to support agents. I want to support customers. And we want that to be the focus. If there was ever a deal done, we would still want to build that. I would still want it to be, I would still want to be trying to be conducive, which makes me think that I'm a better purchase than a lot of businesses that are being purchased.
It's like, I want to keep going.
We want to keep going. But to me, it's almost like I do feel like it deflates my team a little bit. If I do that, like, I would have to be able to sell it to them. Okay. Do I think that I can, under the right circumstances? Yes. But highest offer, doesn't necessarily mean best circumstances. Right. So to me, it's more about finding, if we did that, it would be finding that partnership that on the other side of it, I can feel excited about what we're doing. Because I can tell you guys this, man, like, I make good money. Like I just said, I have a real nice house here, new cars, kids in private school, lake house, vacationing. We're living, like, we're not hurting. Right. And when, if I lose the inspiration behind what's creating that and had just the money, I don't know what that looks like. I don't know if I could be happy. So
good.
whatever my deal is, if I had a deal one day, it has to feel like I'm still, I use this term sometimes, conquistador. I still have to feel like I am on conquest. Friendly. I'm not saying like take people out or do anything wrong or hurt anyone, but friendly competition and being, I want to be able to go to dinner with people that I'm competing with and like celebrate how we, we're competing, but we're also friends. I like that. I have many friends in the industry that sometimes we partner on stuff, sometimes we collaborate, sometimes we compete. It doesn't matter. It's all fun. But I still like that conquest it's in me, and it's in both of you guys too. It's in probably many people watching. I can't, if I lost that, no amount of money would make me happy.
People want to be happy, like Ed Milet says, right? I mean, it's just people, and people buy happiness too, right? So that's really good, man. That's good. Well, let's take a couple minutes though before I definitely want to give you a couple minutes just again give a shout out for Go Guru for Medicare Con, and then how people can go find that, take a demo, hop on a call, whatever that is, and then we'll close out.
Yeah, man. So thank you guys again so much for having me. Insurance Syndicate is awesome. You guys do this with style, and I think you're bringing immense value. I've known Tony for a while, and stand up dude. We do some business with Tony, and some of the team that on my contracting team, just to give a shout out, was like, why can't we do more business with Tony? Like, because
that's my question. I ask myself that every day. I'm like, why can't they just do more business with me?
Tony's like, how can I book a call with them?
He just provides good service, and as busy as I know he is, and as much as he has going on, he's never hard to get a hold of and hard to make something happen. And Joe, man, every time we get together, I just have a blast. You're awesome, dude. And if we push into the PNC space, and I know we've talked about it before, I would absolutely be going with you guys. As far as Go Guru and Medicare Con's our baby. We're in AEP. We'll start the uptick of pushing tickets. We've already sold several hundred. We actually sold like 270 at Medicare Con last year for the next year, which was great. But we're aiming to do 750 agents there. So it's a big jump. We had 384 in attendance this last year, so we're trying to up it.
384.
We had 384 agents there.
Right. Plus 600 on the live stream too.
600 on the live stream. But Vegas, we think is, helps. We had some of our live stream buyers purchase physical tickets next year. People that were on the West Coast, you're more likely to get in Vegas, all kinds of stuff like that. By the way, any ideas you guys have of things we can do for the syndicate to get people there, we're all ears. I know we've talked a little bit about that, but we can make that official. We want to get people in the room. We have ticket prices because, again, I'm transparent. Like Medicare Con for us, we allow many FMOs to be there, carriers, all that. Anybody that was there would not think Medicare Con was a pitch fest for Justin Brock. It was not. We were not out there recruiting. Medicare Con is, for me, I want it to be the event that people love to go to in the Medicare health insurance space. And so because of that, we do have to profit from it somehow. It at least has to pay for itself. When you really look at the time that we put into it and the expenses, it's not like it's super profitable, but we do profit. So we do have a ticket price. Now, with that ticket price, I really don't want that to stand in people's way of getting there. So this year we actually did put a $197 GA ticket on there. And so there is a very inexpensive ticket out there on MedicareCon.com. You can go to there and you can see there's multiple ticket options. And then also Vegas MGM, one thing that you'll realize, rooms are super cheap. Our room rate is sub $100. So you can get a room under our room rate for way less than $100 a night. And they're nice.
Really? Nice.
So the expense of going to Medicare Con next year is lower. Flights are one thing that it's hard for me to say, but I would assure you that the earlier you buy them, the cheaper they are.
Right.
That's just how flying works. MedicareCon.com, and also, Go Guru. We have Go Guru University and Go Guru Pro. You can go to goguru.university or goguru.pro. Pro is our CRM version. The university is the learning platform. Some people want both. Some people want one, either or. But you can book demos on there. You can go through the university. You can go through the CRM. We are using it as a fully HIPAA compliant, vetted recording solution for people. But there's so much more to Go Guru than just being a recording solution. It's really a lead aggregator. We've built it out now where it can be a full service CRM. The amount of information we put in there too. Every week we do calls like this where Will and Steven get on with our members and do a live stream. And then when they have problems, they're live fix problems for them on there. And then they turn those lessons and put them into the system as recorded training. So
cool.
So we do a lot with it. We spend a lot of time on it. We have 3 full service engineers.
Anybody watching this too that says, "Oh, it's just another GHL," like, I promise you, it's not. They've spent hours and a lot of money building this thing out. Like, again, if you guys are, even if you're using another Go High Level platform, or maybe you're thinking about maybe using the free version and trying to build it out yourself, definitely come and talk with them, because I know it's top notch, and I know you guys you've spent a lot of time in there, and there's been nothing but positive reviews on it. So
we have so many ACA, Medicare Advantage, MedSup, life insurance snapshots that we can load, like different types of ones already built. But also some things people are worried about is like the lead protection side. So we have generated contract agreements and NDAs that we can sign saying we'll never use someone's data. That's not the intent of that. It's a much a part of my business model is growing that. The lead side is complete. Honestly, I don't have a problem getting leads. Like, I don't need your data to get leads. I'm lead abundant. You ask the guys in my controlled distribution hub, we have more leads than they know what to do with.
Right.
That's, I know other people have problems with that, and we don't. We have so many leads. Like, we're worried about being able to work them all. We're not worried about leads. But we will sign those things so people feel comfortable with it. And then, on the backside of it, we have, full guarantee that, the satisfaction will be there. There are different levels too. We try to do some, like, there's some people that get in there and want us to like spend, a lot of time building it out for them, like super custom, which is already pretty customized, but you can super customize it to different people's ideas. We can do a lot of that stuff in there. And the system is great. Go High Level is the platform. And it's amazing. But, we're paying for the HIPAA compliance side of it. We're paying for, a lot of different levels of it. So to get an agency account in there and then be able to have unlimited members of your agency account for $97 a month.
Right.
Like, when I came into the industry, when Tony came into the industry, they were carving applications. When I came into the industry, CRMs were getting to be a big thing, but they were expensive as shit.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be like the cheapest you'd get one is 97 a seat, not 97
a seat. Yep.
And you'd be, and that probably wasn't the best one. And that would be like, so if you had a team my size, then that'd mean I'd be paying 97 for 30 different people.
Yeah, be paying. Ridiculous.
I started with Act. If you remember Act, you had to buy the CD-ROM for $97 or $99. Wasn't even 97; it was a whole $99. And then
yeah, man,
it was super. Act was super badass back then. Like, I felt like I was a little bit ahead of the curve as an independent agent because I had Act. It was super customizable. You could build all kinds of great fields. You could run your own sales letters through it. So I was doing mail merge templates and mass mailings through it. I was like, dude, I'm killing it. Nobody knows what I'm up to.
This was like Microsoft database type of programming.
Right.
I actually remember. I remember being in the Marine Corps and this guy coming through that, what was it called? It was like this company they would hire to come in and make your spreadsheets more efficient. Like Sigma or something. Anyway, these Sigma certified guys that come through and they're like showing us how to use, Microsoft database to create all this stuff. And I'm like, now I'm looking back, I'm like, thank God we don't have to do that. That was a huge yes.
Yeah, we're using Microsoft Access, I guess, right?
Access, that's what it was. Yeah, Microsoft Access. You could build Microsoft Access was a very
if you know how to build it, it's still. If you know how to manipulate it, it's badass.
But it is a complex. It's like learning a whole nother language.
Absolutely.
But all right, guys. Well, I really appreciate you guys letting those shout outs. But this has been really fun. I hope I can come on again.
Oh,
Yeah,
definitely.
absolutely, man.
Your last statement about we got more leads than we can handle is a whole nother conversation I'd love to have with you about understanding how to run your marketing so that you're always kind of chasing your capacity, right? It's always kind of out in front of you and you're trying
Yeah.
to chase it down. So, man, thank you for coming on. Thank you guys for tuning in out there. We're here every Wednesday, 9 a.m. live from Austin, Texas. Give it up for the guru, the Medicare guru himself. Thanks again for coming out, man.
And it's Wednesday. It's
the peak
Wednesday.
of the week.
Come on. Let's get it.
Turning
We'll
point.
see you guys and see y'all next week.
All right, y'all.
Thanks.
Have a good one.